Well, good afternoon, good morning, good evening. I had to grab the opportunity when it made itself available. It's a wet day out, so the kids are mostly inside and their dad is home today. My daughter is working. She's the only one working during this holiday break with a special task. But anyway, the kids just 15 minutes, 20 minutes ago, you wouldn't have believed how much noise there was right outside my door going on there. And it's been like that off and on throughout the morning. So I grabbed the opportunity to make this at 12:55 p.m. And this is the video for the 29th, and I'm making it on Saturday the 28th. Anyway, yes, December is almost over. 2013 is almost over. The title for today's message, talk, video is "The Task of Changing the World is Enormous." This morning I watched/listened to the Alex Jones commercialized presentation of the film State of Mind, The Psychology of Control, and I provided the link there for those of you that want to watch it. It was nothing new to me. I already knew that most of what we believe to be true is actually deliberate deception orchestrated by the global elite who want to rule the world. I'm not going to talk in detail about that video. You can view it yourself if you wish. I wish to talk about how I feel about the world in which I want so much to make a difference. I realize, as I indicated in my title, that the task of making positive changes in our world is enormous. How can we overcome the decades of brainwashing when most of humanity remains in a hypnotic trance? Indeed, as 2013 comes to a conclusion and we face yet another new year, I had one of my friends write to me and ask me, "Ron, when nothing happens at the end of 2014, will you admit that you were wrong again?" I was wrong in 2011, I was wrong in 2012, and so far I've been wrong in 2013. The changes that I think must happen haven't happened. The world still continues pretty much without any significant change made other than the fact that more and more people are waking up. But the changes in our culture, in our geopolitical structure of our society and of the economic system in which we are saddled with and imprisoned by, that continues to go on. The corporate structure continues to commit crimes against humanity. Our leaders continue to lie to us. The medical profession and the educational professions and everything, the medical stuff, it's all a lie. But most people don't believe that it's a lie because we haven't been told it was a lie on mainstream television. But people are waking up, as I said. That's the positive sign. Another one of my friends said, "Ron, I admire your stick-to-itiveness, your courage to keep trying to make a difference, but it's not going to happen in our lifetime. So, just get used to it." I don't believe it's going to happen. We're not going to see the changes that we would like to see. It's just not going to happen. It's too embedded. And those comments were made when I talked about how Obama and other leaders are psychopathically groomed for the positions that they hold. And in fact, virtually all leaders in all major corporations and all major institutions and everything that makes society seem to be the movers and shakers, everything that seems to be the movers and shakers in society, it's all groomed and programmed, mind controlled. It's all a fraud. It's deception. It's a lie. It's a crime against humanity. It robs us of our humanity. It displaces our natural values. And I see this even in the microcosm of the home that I'm living in now, where I've taken in my family, and I see different values that come into play. I see, for example, my daughter so much does not want to control her children, that her children can control her. Although not completely. It's not a black and white thing. It's shades of gray. But the dynamic is there. She doesn't want to raise children that just simply follow orders. That's commendable. But children, children need limitations placed on them to help guide them because that's the stage of development that they're in. And human beings, when they're in an infant and childlike state of mind, also need guidelines, which is why the people that say we've got to get rid of government, they, that's crazy. Humanity is not ready to self-govern. Most people are not ready. Many people are, but most people aren't because we've been sitting under decades and probably longer than that of brainwashing. But it's been very organized since the 20th century at least, okay? So that the decades in the century just immediately preceding us, we have been massively brainwashed in our culture. And the movie, State of Mind, The Psychology of Control, really hits that hard and drives it home for those that are willing to watch. But the thing is, the people that need to watch it most probably won't watch it at all. They won't watch it at all until it's on mainstream television. And by that time, the change has already been made, and so it will be history. It won't be something that we can actually do something about. And this is the thing that challenges me. When I look at the dynamics in my household and I see the microcosm of the world of different value systems coming into play and trying to make sense of the whole thing and trying to establish some kind of cooperative structure. And it's not easy. I'm telling you, even in my own home, it's not easy. How much more difficult is it in the world at large, in the macrocosm? How much more difficult is it there? Which is why I'm at the place at the end of 2013 that I'm feeling quite disappointed, actually, that once again another year seems to have come and gone without the changes that I felt were coming at the end of 2010, that I felt would be coming in the year just ahead of me, in December 2010, when I wrote 2011, a year of massive visible changes. I really believed that there were going to be massive visible changes. I was wrong. Then I was wrong again in 2012 because I thought there were going to be, okay, by December 2012, we're going to be living in a different world. It's the same freaking world. I was wrong again. I was wrong again this year when I was told in the middle of the year, at just the beginning of the summer, that there was a plan underway that was going to finance positive change in the world and undermine basically the corporate structure of our world because it had been that corporate structure had been foreclosed upon by the OPPT, and Mr. Sino was going to finance a new system with CVACs, creation value or creator value asset centers, which we are all one. We are all creation value asset centers. We all have tremendous value and wealth within our own being, but when we don't know we have it, what good is it? And most people don't know they have that, which is why you can't get rid of government, which is why you can't simply get rid of money right now, because you have to have the bridges. Now, are these things enslaving? Oh, absolutely, they're enslaving. Are they something that we're going to ultimately be able to get rid of? That may not happen in my lifetime, probably won't. But the initial change of stopping the New World Order, falsely so-called, because it's the old world order on steroids, and I'm tired of people calling it the New World Order. The New World Order is when things change for the good. That's the New World Order. It's not a New World Order when things continue to go from bad to worse. That's not a New World Order. That's the same old psychopathic, sociopathic game of the elite that are trying to create their domination structure over the whole earth and fulfill the prophecy of 1984 with a combat boot on every face that resists. Okay? That's the world that we're wanting to change out of. That's the world that I want to overcome. and rise above. I don't know that humanity can do it without outside help. And I get criticized for that. And they say, Ron, God can't do it for us. They're under a divine directive that the ETs and the angels can't interfere. Well, I'm asking them to interfere and level the playing field. I've been asking that for almost the entire time I've been doing these videos, if not the entire time. I was asking before I began doing videos, for God's sake. I want the playing field leveled. I want there to be as much enforcement of the good as there is for the bad. Is that too much to ask to level the playing field? Is that too much to ask to make a world where there is equality, where at least the light is given equal power with the dark, and get the unbalance and the imbalance of a dark dominated society, get that at least starting to move in the direction of correction? I don't think we're going to necessarily eliminate all the corporations overnight, but if we can at least establish the CVACs, if Mr. Sino can finally get the funding, and other people that have funding to be released to humanity, and announce Nassar and restore republics and stuff like that, we're at least moving in the direction. But it had the big change, the big event, whatever that is, hasn't happened yet. And so we're stuck at the end of 2013 in the same freaking world we've been stuck in all of our lives, for those of us that are waking up. And those of us that aren't waking up, what can we do to wake people up that have been hypnotized, that have been under mind control and are taking the poison from the pharmaceutical industries and being hypnotized by their television sets and by mainstream media? What are we going to do with the people that don't think and have been trained not to think? Because it's a scary thing to think for yourself. It means you have to take responsibility. And that's a real frightening thing for people that want somebody else to take care of them. But you say, Ron, aren't you asking for God to take care of humanity? No, I'm asking for God to help us level the playing field. I don't know what that's going to be. I don't know what that event's going to be that brings enforcement to the good, so that we can actually start bringing the criminals to accountability for their crimes against humanity. I mean, the real criminals, the ones at the top of the pyramid, not the 2-bit players underneath that are just following orders because they've been brainwashed and mind controlled. I mean, the people at the top that have been pulling the strings, the puppet masters behind the curtain. When are we going to start getting them and bringing them to accountability? That will start shifting things and allow the progression of evolution of consciousness to take place. But as long as we're stuck in the morass of the brainwashing and mind control, and of the control by the masses through the media and through all of the corporations and everything else, as long as that continues, we don't have a chance. And that's the truth. We don't have a chance to change the world and bring that task if it just depends on humans doing it by ourselves, because we don't have the power. We have the power of truth, but we don't have the power of enforcement to actually make the rule of law work for good, instead of, as it has been now, corrupted and works for evil. How are we going to do that? This is the place that I see myself and humanity, and those of us that want to make a difference here at the end of 2013. This is what I see. And as I said, and as I've been saying for the last while, I'm seeing the microcosm of this, of the dynamics of this in my own family. In my own family. How are we going to recognize that the greatest value that we have is our rights that are given to us from creation, not by government, which cannot lawfully take them away? When are we going to realize that our greatest value is our freedom, our birthright, our freedom to be? And when are we going to realize that when we're children, we need guidance? So there has to be structure in children's lives. There have to be rules. There has to be some level of control, because that's what is needed to teach. But people need to grow beyond their childhood need of having someone else make decisions for them and learn how to think for themselves. And my daughter is absolutely right. She doesn't want children that just act as slaves. I get it. I get it. And I also get it that other members of the family don't quite get that yet. They are still more or less more caught in the system than my daughter is. And so there's different levels right in my own household, just as there are in society. Different levels of awareness, different levels of consciousness. And not everybody gets it. Not everybody embraces the same value. Although, if you try to take somebody's rights away from them, most people will say that's not right. Although, I've seen people acquiesce to authority without hardly a whimper, because they don't know who they are. What are you going to do? This is the state of the world in 2013. It's the state of the awakening. Yeah, there's people waking up. There's people that realize what's going on. There's still a lot of people that are asleep and choose to stay asleep. There's still a lot of people that think that whatever you focus on is only going to grow, and it will. It will, and may it continue to grow until we recognize that we've got to own it and make changes. Okay? Ignoring it doesn't make it go away. And that's the point. That's the point that I've been trying to make over and over and over again. The spirituality of ignoring things and of denial is a spirituality that is part of the matrix control grid. It is part of the brainwashing. It is part of the old world order on steroids, of controlling your mind so that you don't think for yourself, so that you don't stand up for your rights and your freedom. I hope that changes, and I hope the event, whatever that is, will happen soon, and that we will be able to actually see with our eyes the difference that's being made as people are finally made accountable for their gross and horrendous crimes against human nature and against humanity and against life itself. That's all I'm going to share for today. Thank you for listening, and namaste.